Hello, everybody. Welcome to Podcast on the Rocks. My name is John, and we're here to talk about pop culture things that interest us. And sometimes there's whiskey. I'm here with Andrea, as always. How's it going, Andrea?
Good. Just glad to be upright, glad to be here. You know, I am physically present. We'll see if I'm mentally present or not. I've had quite an adventurous day. Plus, like I was just saying before the pod, my Packers are playing right now. So if I whip around real fast, that's what's doing.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, I can tell that I'm used to the anime podcasts because I was like about to launch into that intro um versus this one. So I hope
Yes.
everybody that's watching, if you're into anime, you're following our anime content. We just talked about Don to Don last week, season 2 wrap up. And but
Mhm.
yeah, we're here this week. Andrea sliding home base just in the nick of time. And
I, uh,
yeah.
I feel like one of our opponents, in the second game were called Stumbling Home, and that's feeling pretty apt for my scenario right now.
Okay.
It
Nice.
is it is also funny that you mentioned the anime podcast because I too almost opened the other stream, the other stream link,
Mm,
like, I have a different
yeah.
computer setup depending on the pod that we do, and I almost went the other direction and then was like, "Whoop, nope, gotta
Yep.
sign myself into Discord here."
Yep. Well, I'm glad we're getting this episode done. It was going to be it was went from being our biggest podcast episode guest wise in a while to just us. We're gonna
Yeah,
have uh Dustin and Shane and Mike on. And then
yeah,
yeah, I would have asked Pete earlier because maybe he could have made it, but it's like, well, he was for here for our Fantastic Four one. And if
mhm.
everybody says yes, it's gonna get to be a bit of a crowd. So
Yes, that would have been.
so yeah. But
Yep,
that's all right.
just the
I wanted
core,
to
no super friends, unfortunately,
yep,
today.
yep. But Superman came out a while ago. Superman, that's the topic for tonight. If you clicked on this, you probably see that. Superman 2025. And it's like the first real project or film in the James Gunn
Mhm,
DCU, kind of the relaunch. So there's a lot of pressure, I would say, on it to succeed or be good or whatever. And so yeah, find out at least if we liked it or not. We can talk briefly
mhm.
about its success or not or whatever, where the DCU goes from here. But yeah, we'll talk drink holidays. So we'll talk about our weeks a little bit just before that, and then just briefly want to mention, like, make sure you like, share, subscribe, all those sorts of things. Podcast and the Rocks. We are on podcast directories and we're on YouTube. So kind of wherever you want to find us, you can find us there and give us a follow and that sort of thing. And we're live now, so jump in the chat if you're listening live. But Andrea, let's kick it off with drinks. It sounds like you need a drink after today, or maybe
Ooh,
maybe you had enough drinks
or
today
or
already, and so you
maybe, yeah.
don't need to. I don't know. You tell me, but
Oh, we'll see, yeah. Um, yeah, and I mean, it's kind of an odd collection of holidays. They sort of feel like, some of the sad holidays that maybe you don't normally, think of when you think of drinking.
yeah,
Like our first one, rolling it back to September 15th, it's Creme de Menthe Day. I feel like that's a very niche holiday celebration, you know, as a
hmm,
bartender, I rarely got asked for anything with that, other
sure.
than a grasshopper, so, yeah.
Hmm.
Um, Otherwise, on the 19th, we have a wine holiday, a very specific wine, um, and it's, I think Grenache?
I mean, that's
Think
how I would
so.
say it.
Yep, but yeah, it's a form of grape, so you can make a red or a white with it, it sounds like,
Oh,
but it is, yeah, um, a day to celebrate that kind of wine made with that specific type of grape. Then we have finally the real run up Oktoberfest kicking off last week, running for another week, September 20th through October 5th. That's the 2-week
all right.
German holiday. So we were just ahead of the curve when we celebrated, I think.
Absolutely. Yep.
Not everybody can set the trend like we can, but I think we did it well. September
I'm
20th
yeah.
also. Oh, sorry.
Just yeah, I liked always getting to multiple Oktoberfests when possible, so we can kick
Me too.
ours off. Plus, it lines, your birthday, it just lines up well. I like it.
It's just I mean, really, we just have to kind of call on the Oktoberfest gods to, change their plans because it really lines up nicely with my birthday.
Yep.
So, look out world, petition coming, Oktoberfest starts early. Um, but for now, it starts on the 20th, which also was Rum Punch Day. Also a very specific kind of holiday, not
Mhm.
one that, again, as a bartender, I saw people order quite often. Um, but then we get to some more generic holidays that were yesterday and today, Crush a Can Day and Drink Beer Day. So kind of
Okay.
starting off on the wild side and then ending very normal and mellow.
Yeah. Did you choose to celebrate one of these holidays?
I am crushing a can, John.
Okay.
So
A
I
can of seltzer?
a can of seltzer, indeed. That felt in line for, the way that you spread out the drinking at, Renfest. So,
Oh,
cheers.
wait, so that's an alcoholic one. I
Mhm.
was thinking, oh, maybe you just like just sparkling water. Just
Nope. Nope. We got a
okay,
little high noon in there.
nice. All right. Um, I abstinently I decided I'm going to not celebrate one of these holidays
Okay.
because I had seen something in my fridge that I just wanted to have. It didn't line up with anything. I'm like, screw it. That's what
Like
I'm
I
having.
said,
So,
it's a very niche collection of holidays to start with,
well,
and then it just goes, like, super broad in general, so yeah.
yeah. I felt really bad not just drinking a beer because I have a lot of them right now left
Sure,
over from Oktoberfest. It
sure.
is the actual day, the 28th, but I didn't want one. So I have this
I
milk and
love it.
honey, Pamu. I don't know how to say that for sure. Pamu. It's I don't know if
What
you tried
is
any of
that?
this while you're over. It's they say apple dessert wine. Okay, it's from
Oh,
Minnesota.
okay,
It says here a blend
okay.
of apple brandy and fresh pressed juice aged for 2 years in barrels. This Pamu provides a warm, spirituous sensation that alerts the senses to notes of caramel, oak, spice, cherry, and dried fruits.
Hmm,
Best served neat in a bulbed glass.
hmm.
So, hmm
Wonder why it's called a
so
pamu.
yeah, I mean, it's like it probably just mean
It's
I don't
got
know what that
it's got, like,
means.
some French influence, maybe?
Yeah, it's just pressed, I don't know. But
Yeah.
anyways, the milk and honey makes really
Oh,
good cider stuff. And
it's
but this is like a
Spanish?
brandy kind of thing.
Oh, no, it's
Here's
Northern
my
France. Okay.
glass.
Interesting. Okay.
And it's delicious. Like it's really good.
Sure.
It's a perfect fall sort of drink. Um Absolutely fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, and it says here it's a
Pretty
nice little
desserty.
dessert wine.
Yeah. It's desserty without being like it's drinkable though. It doesn't feel like,
Yeah.
sometimes you have something it's quite sweet and strong. I don't know. This is like mellow enough, spicy enough. Okay, I don't know. I'm a fan. Recommend. So,
Solid.
speaking of recommending things, anything you watched this week or read or consumed that you recommend to people?
I mean, just my old classic standbys right now, honestly. I
Okay.
watched some more of Wednesday. I'm up to season 2, episode 6, so 2 away from the finale, and then more Great British Baking Show. And
Okay.
that's honestly all I had time for because I was going on a run with anime, trying
Okay.
to catch up on some shows that I realized I fell a little behind on, which is easy to do, and then they pile up like 5, 6, 7
Yeah.
episodes, and you're just like, "Whoa."
Yep.
So, yeah. So went hard at that, but yeah, made a little bit of time for Wednesday and some Great British Baking Show.
Nice. I'm gonna bring up anime again in a minute, but
Mm.
I,
Oh, wait, no, I did
oh,
watch
yeah.
one more thing. It's totally in the vein still, but Halloween Wars.
Okay.
Halloween Wars, 1st episode of
Oh,
the new
okay.
season.
Okay,
Yes.
on Food Network? Alright.
Yes. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
HBO Max carries it, next day because um I thought it started this weekend, but it actually started, like, last weekend, so
Okay. Maybe I'll have to check that out. I
yes.
forget about sadly, I forget about Food Network things a lot these days, but it
Yep.
would be
I
always be a
totally
good
get it.
thing to throw on in the background or whatever, so
Yes. Well, and like I said,
should get on
Max
there.
carries the next day, after the episode airs, which I believe are every Sunday. So
Okay. Well, I spent a lot of time in comic books this week. I watched an old horror movie, so like From Beyond the Grave. It has um um Emerald as Tarkin, Grandma Tarkin in it. I'm
Oh,
blanking
yeah,
on his
okay.
name at the moment. That's why I'm
Yeah,
using
yeah,
his
yeah,
name,
yeah.
the Star Wars name.
Yeah.
But that was fun. And then I watched Weapons. Thought I had mentioned it on this show, but I guess not. I watched Weapons,
No. Interesting. How was
so
that?
it was good. Yeah, I recommend. I was a little worried because I went in with relatively high expectations because so many people liked it, but yeah, I enjoyed it too. Good performances.
Good.
Didn't know where it was going. Solid. So a little bit long in the setup, maybe, but otherwise, uh, yeah, fun, creepy horror film.
Okay.
Um, then continuing continuing on with Batman Dark Patterns, issue 10. That's still good. Sometime maybe I'll have to give it like a big review of, I don't know, first 12 issues or something like that, maybe.
Sure.
And then Alan actually got me the physical version of the X-Men comic I was reading, but this
Nice.
has the second volume in it and it's both together. So
Yeah.
it's volume one, but there's sometimes they separate them. Like the other version I have, the small one is like the end bit of this and whatever. So I read through this Blast from the Past again. When I read it as a kid, it was sparse. Like the issues were I couldn't didn't have all of them. So, but I remember these are kind of a big deal because um, the X-Men movie had come out the year prior. So the
Mm,
first movie.
sure.
And that was kind of, big deal. Like, what are we going to do? It's bigger for the comic book movie space. And it was all X-Men in black leather. So the comics followed suit in that and making it like a darker tone. So
Nah,
the,
suit. Good pun.
yeah, it, it's, and I mean, I remember at the time really liking it. The art's very unique. I mean, if you want to look at like this is what a lot of the characters look like. It's very
Mm,
unique looking
yeah.
art design behind the characters.
Yeah.
Um, so overall review, the story is pretty good. It's got I won't spoil who she is, but someone named like Cassandra. She's a potent threat to the X-Men. It's a good setup, and she's really mean, like effectively mean to people. She's convincing. Um, I like the choice of X-Men in this, and that it's a small team, pretty much.
Mm,
That's
okay.
all good. Do like I like probably latched on to me because I saw it as a kid, but I do like the art design, the character design at the time, and still, even though it's very different. My biggest issues, I guess, are that the art style does waver dramatically because there's like three different artists that cover this whole volume. So there's
Mm,
a sort of original that I showed you here. Um, that is, let's see, if I pull his name here. Um, Frank Quietly. That's the kind of one that's defined the style. And then there's Ethan Van Sciver, who I had mentioned before. He's a Cyberfrog guy, so
right.
his art is here. And then there's someone else. There's one or two more people that the art is just not good. It's really not good.
Mm,
So it's just like the story stays consistent,
sure.
characters stay consistent, but the art is just it's a roller coaster, you know.
Sure.
So generally the most important issues are good art in here, but there's a couple that you just have to swallow it and deal with it. So
Get through the
uh,
story.
yeah, and then Grant Morrison, you know, he's the writer, and he's really pretty well known, and he's done a lot of work. And I didn't read happen to read those issues as a kid, but there's two issues that make kind of uh, obvious political statements that are completely unnecessary. Really
Oh,
disappointed me. It's like just
okay.
like little name drop stuff that I just again complete had nothing to do, added nothing to the story other than like speaking to a certain audience or knowing they're talking to kids really. You know, that you can
Okay.
influence kids because that's who, you know, these comic books are going to be targeted at. And you know, they're not going to know any different or whatever. So um it's
So
that's
so you felt
unfortunate. 'Cause
it was like a statement rather than just like a name drop, like you said?
yeah, it's like a, you know, a little it's just a little jab in there.
Okay.
Lets them know where they stand or whatever, and it
Okay.
added nothing to the story. Like they could have done the exact same thing other than, you know, it just was meaningless. So,
Mm.
um
Interesting.
not a big fan. You know, it happened in comics for a lot, but again, it's this thing that's at kids, and it's unfortunate that you got to bring, you know, there's enough analogy and stuff already or whatever that you can draw from any of these
Yeah.
stories that you don't need to browbeat someone with a
With an
meaningless jab.
obvious yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, I'm
but
sorry it took you out.
besides those 2 points, you know, and some of that art, it set up a lot of cool stuff to come. Kind of set up um, Scott's eventual relationship with Emma Frost, starts that
Mhm.
rolling.
Sure.
You know, Beast is in a different place because he's mutated further. He's less human. He's having struggles dealing with that.
Mm.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
more cat-like, you know?
Interesting.
So that kinda continues for a while into, like, Astonishing X-Men and all this different stuff, and so, yeah.
That's so interesting to me that you say that because in all the portrayals of Beast, if I had to guess, like, animals that he would be like, cat wouldn't be it,
I know.
you know?
Yep.
I mean, I think
Mhm.
there's some pretty obvious, more like gorilla, comparisons or, just maybe even bears. I don't know. It just cat just wouldn't have been my my choice there or my thought about, boy, if he was gonna evolve further, that's
Yep.
uh that's the direction he would go, feline. So
Well, and the question is he evolving or devolving, you know, that sort of thing. Here's I don't know if you can see, I was trying to look for, like, a good full page sort of spread.
oh, sure, okay. Yeah.
Um,
Interesting, interesting.
I've gotta be able to get something in here for the viewers that's a bigger image here. This is one of the covers, and there's an image.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, like I said, I mean, that's actually really beautiful, but it wouldn't
Mhm.
have been, what I would have guessed. Good or bad,
Yeah.
it's not what I would have thought for Beast.
Yep.
So it's interesting.
So that's X-Men. E is for Extinction. The full Epic Collection Volume 1, my review by Grant Morrison, and 2001 to 2002 might dive into Volume 2 at some point. So,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so sticking on the superhero bandwagon, let's get into the main topic. Superman 2025. This is a movie
Yeah.
that you saw a while ago, right?
Yes.
You saw it in theater?
Yes. I did not. Nope.
Okay.
I didn't
Okay.
manage to get there. So I
Yeah.
had to see it at home and then I rewatched it this weekend just to kind of like refresh myself.
Okay. Nice. I did what people what I always recommend to people not to do, I watched this movie on the plane, but
Oh, interesting.
I had good headphones in and my iPad, so it's like a quality screen and stuff. It's just small.
Yeah. Well, plus, this is a good plain movie. Nothing embarrassing, nothing weird, nothing that, you'd have your seatmate look over and be like, "Whoa," or even children, I think, look over and go,
Yeah,
"Whoa." I mean, yes, violence because superhero movies and there are, of course, fights, but on the whole, like, pretty tame, you
yeah,
know?
yep. Okay, so what do you generally think of Superman? Do you care about
Sure.
Superman? What are the big things you've seen of Superman? And
Yeah.
then how does this movie fit in? And yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Superman for me really I feel like it's a lot like Batman. I used to watch the cartoon and that, was kind of my I don't know, center for Superman. There wasn't a lot of like live action that
okay,
I was into or, really desperately cared about. Um, I've seen some of like the older Superman movies with Christopher Reeve. My mom was super interested in, obviously what happened to him and his sort of like activism as an adult or like post film career adulthood. So I ended up being curious and kind of like watching some of the Superman movies. um I did watch a little bit of like Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher.
yep.
Wasn't like the largest
L-
fan of that. um And then, yeah, I remember, big noise coming in for Brandon Routh's Superman and that being pretty disappointing. It wasn't awful, it just was more meh than everybody was expecting, and there was just sort of this, like, I just felt like this whole collective, movie-going audience going, "Man, like, we got hyped for that?" And
Interesting.
I don't wanna be mean about it, but, I just felt like that was sort of the collective, like, that just wasn't what we thought it was gonna be. So, yeah,
Okay.
I kind of felt bad for Brandon Routh because I didn't think he did a terrible job, but just the movie didn't all come together to get you as excited as a viewer. Um, so yeah. I've seen Cavill not in any of the solo Supermans, but in Justice League, of course. Um, yeah, so that's the most recent, and then I think really post-cartoon formative Superman for me was Tom Welling in, Smallville.
Hmm. Okay.
I watched
Okay.
that through quite a bit of seasons. Um, I don't know, unpopular opinion, I had a harder time watching when Lois Lane entered the picture, so, it took me a while to finish Smallville, but I did it. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So those are kind of all of my
Okay.
wide range of Superman
That's quite a bit.
experiences. Yeah. Yeah, in kind of thinking about it, I've watched more than I thought I had, but not all of it super enjoyable, and, you know, again, I feel like the cartoon really was, like, the essence and core of what I thought was interesting for Superman, just like Batman.
Okay. Yeah, I never really connected with Superman in like a
Sure.
meaningful way.
Sure.
It's I've been Lois and Clark. I definitely did watch pretty regularly. I guess at the time, and
Okay.
I've read a few comics, seen the first Matt Reeve, first um,
Christopher Reeve?
uh, Christopher Reeve movie, Superman Returns, Brandon Routh, and then Justice League movie. But
Yep.
Superman Returns. The sad thing about that was that the director left doing X Men. He'd done X Men 1 and
Yeah.
2 to
Yep.
do this Superman movie. And then they handed off X Men 3 I forget what his name is, and it was a dumpster fire. So that
Yes.
was always my thing. Is like, okay, instead of like nicely moving into clear like Dark Phoenix territory, we just train wreck. So Superman Returns wasn't worth the jumping ship
No.
there. There was like a really cool action sequence in it. And I think it was well casted. Brandon Routh did just fine.
Right? Not his
Kate
fault that
Bosworth was good. I think
Yep.
Kevin Spacey was good as you know, uh Lex Luthor. So I think,
Mhm.
a lot of good stuff about it, but it was too long in an era of movies that
Yeah.
weren't typically as long. And yeah. So
Yeah, it just it all of the pieces just it didn't add up to a memorable film,
yeah.
like, the
Hmm.
experience wasn't, wow, it wasn't amazing, it wasn't this great piece of cinema, it underwhelmed, and it's hard to point to any exact thing, I guess, for me. Like you said, there was some great casting, there was some good story effort in there. It just didn't end up
Yeah, I'd have to,
working.
I guess. It's been years,
Yeah.
but
I'd have to watch it again and see if there's something I could really point to, but yeah, like I said, it just didn't wow.
yep. And Henry Cavill is a great cast for Superman, but
Yeah.
it, the darker tone of and like how overpowered he is and stuff is just not, wasn't great for me.
Mm.
I also the cartoon was the biggest standout thing. Even though I wasn't in love with Superman, that was to
Yes.
me Superman. That
Yes.
was the defining thing. So yeah. I've always liked Superboy and Supergirl more. Like it's just
Sure.
those sidekick characters for whatever reason. They're just different. So yeah. But how does this movie fit in? Does this climb to the top of those things for you? Does this redefine what Superman is for you in any way? Or is this like somewhere right in the middle of the pack?
Yeah, I mean,
Were
I'd
you
say
expecting to love
middle
it or yeah.
middle to upper pack. I wasn't expecting to love it because, I've had some issues, I think, with James Gunn's trajectory for the DC universe and, like, the helming he's done there. I have by turns loved and hated some of his projects, so it wasn't, like, specific to James Gunn that I was, not excited about Superman. But yeah, I just feel like a lot of people had pretty positive reactions to the movie, so I was like, "All right, I'm interested. I'll give it a shot." So yeah, I would say this is middle upper pack. Not again, not gonna displace the cartoon for me. I'd maybe have to see where I felt about like some of the older movies that I've watched and or, I don't know. It's hard to like leapfrog and catalog the whole of
Yeah.
Smallville into one place. So I'd have to sit down and kind of figure that out. But like this was um a really solid film and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. It's definitely got
Yeah.
the James Gunn stamp of weirdness for sure. But I like that because it does make this superhero movie stand out a little bit amongst, a genre that unfortunately lately can become a little bit more formulaic.
Okay. Well, something on that, I will say that when I was watching this, I thought I appreciated that also like Fantastic Four from this summer, they really just went full in on superpowers and weirdness
Yep.
without
Yep.
bothering there's like pocket
Yes.
dimensions and
Yep.
the woman's been bonded with the nanomachines and like got crazy
Yep.
power. They just went full on, like
Yep.
alien tech, all the stuff. And I'm like,
There's
yeah,
a
audiences have
alien
seen
squid
all type of
thing.
things now. Yes,
Yep.
they just let it all be there. Don't worry about it. We're having fun. And
Yes.
like that's not me saying I don't want things to operate within a rule set. I do, but they're not
Right.
breaking the rules that they're creating for the film.
Right.
So um I
Yeah.
appreciated that. I think that
I
for me,
I on in
Go
that
ahead.
vein, I just wanna say, like, I do appreciate also the acknowledgement of other, they're terming them metahumans here. It's just like, there's a whole wide world out there. We can't pretend this exists in, like, ironically, a little pocket dimension.
Mhm.
We just have to acknowledge other heroes, other groups, other
Yeah.
powers. I did get a little chuckle in the beginning when they were like, "Superman's the strongest," and I was just like, you know, it was so, like, blatant and in your face that it was very funny. But yeah, like you said, it's nice because when you do acknowledge that there are other superhumans, metahumans, whatever you wanna say, it does open up the bounds of the universe to do some wacky things like James Gunn likes to do, and they still fit. So, I loved
Yep.
all of that.
Yep.
And you don't have to,
Yeah,
as an
they
audience member, go like, "Oh, this is like a major world crisis. Where are all these other superheroes?" It's just really convenient that only Superman is here or, only insert
yeah.
X, superhero title movie here. So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and it didn't feel like I like that this is it feels like a soft start to DCU. They just kind
Yeah.
of hit the ground running. It wasn't a big like, okay, like I said, they could have done here's the first metahuman ever, or Superman just arrived, or like making it like a really beginning film. And they didn't
Yes.
bother with that, which I
Nope.
appreciated a lot. Just
Agreed.
go. We know Superman. They told enough of our back. We've learned some of the backstory and all that sort of thing throughout it, but we just went and that was good. They tackled like him, which is a this is a tricky thing, but they tackled him intervening in world affairs, and
Yes.
I thought they did a good job of bringing raising those questions without us feeling like, I don't know, without it bringing the film down or getting too in the weeds with it. It's
Yes.
it didn't become a political thriller or something. And it just stops long enough to let you ponder like, hey, yeah, this is are you gonna let someone like this act free of international law and
Mhm.
the typical procedures of man here? And ultimately they sort of side on the idea that like these are, it's creates an uplifting thing. These are heroes and they're going to do what's right. And we kind of
Right.
have to, you know, stop because it's kind of a powerful moment at the end. And the kids raising the Superman flag and he's not coming, it's like, it's just like, okay, you got all the political things that you have to deal with and the stuff. But in the end, like with someone has the power to do what's right and save
Right.
kids or whatever, then it's like that's what you want to see the fantasy of these films do. You want to see the
Right.
heroes in these films do that. So
Right.
that's fantasy.
Yeah, you don't wanna red tape them to death,
Yeah, that's the
get them
boys.
too in the
Something.
yeah, yes. Which, there were definitely some elements in this that I was like, "Ooh, I feel that universe influence here." Um, but yeah, so I agree. It was interesting to consider. Um, and the movie was nice in that it never let me land fully on a side. When Lois and Clark vis-a-vis Superman are having his sit down interview and she's asking him all these
Yeah.
questions, there was parts of me that sometimes were like, yes, I see what she's saying because, you're kind of going rogue here and are you assuming that you're acting under your own authority? Should whoever you're interacting with be assuming that? Should they be assuming that you're acting with the authority of the full United States? you know,
Yep.
army behind you or, political power behind you? What are we doing here? And then sometimes I thought, maybe Lois entered into a little bit too like hypothetical questions or like, got too in the weeds
Sure.
about, what would you do if? And it
She's a
seemed like a
reporter.
little right. It just seemed like,
Mhm.
sometimes it just went too far into like maybe bad faith questions that didn't aim somewhere specific or like didn't try
Okay.
to like, get him somewhere. They were just like, "Well, what would you do?" So again, like I never landed fully on a side because it's hard. Like this kind of issue is so complex. Like yes, it could be very dangerous to, allow this to happen, and there could be a lot of assumptions made that, maybe could get countries into trouble. On the other hand, like you said, are you really just going to stand there and wait on red tape and hypotheticals when someone has the power to, save
Yeah.
innocent lives? It's really tough. None of this is
Yeah.
easy and none of this is clear cut. So, yeah, the movie did a great job on that.
That's why, it's the whole thing, like, I've talked about this before with like Jack Bauer. You can't sanction someone like Jack Bauer to do back to 24, if anyone remembers. You can't sanction this sort of agent to do the things he does. That's why you have in like Mission Impossible or whatever. Like if you are caught, whatever, you'll be
Mhm.
disavowed. You and your team, you're gone.
Right,
We
right,
didn't have anything to do with this. And
right.
so
Nothing. You're
you
nothing.
you so legally, yes, but it's like if someone has the power to do the right thing, they're going to do the right thing. But then if you do the wrong thing, you're going to eat it. You're
Right,
really, you have no, so that's the risk you play. You make a
right.
mistake and now you are already taking the law into your own hands. Now you're really going to have it because, yeah, look at this.
Yeah, I think but the interesting difference there, of course, is with people like Jack Bauer, they are people without
Yes.
superpowers. So you can be like, all right, if you mess it up and fall on your face, like you have very real consequences that we will either
Hmm.
make you face or we will not save you from facing. And, for Superman, obviously, that's quite a bit different. You can't just, put him in timeout or,
Yeah.
covertly have him taken off the board, as it were, if he's
Well,
going to
if
screw
you
up.
have Lex Luthor in employ,
Yes,
you have
and a
this
pocket
little
dimension.
yep, you have this
That's a
little,
lot that's a lot of ifs. If you have a
mhm,
man of Lex Luthor's means and brain and obsession, um,
mhm,
yeah. You
and a
can, you
a
can.
public-private partnership as such,
Yes.
then, yeah, you're gonna
Yeah, if
have,
Lex Luthor's interested in other stuff though, you're SOL because yeah, he's putting that brain to other uses. They're just lucky he decide I mean, lucky, not obviously not because the point of the
yep,
movie is bad. But, I'm just saying, if Lex
mhm,
Luthor wasn't there, what would the US do?
yep, yep. What do we think of the other characters? I thought Lois Lane was well cast and did a pretty good job. Obviously, our rest of our hero team, Mr. Fantastic, no, Mr. Fantastic,
Terrific.
Mr. Terrific, and
He
Green
was
Lantern,
awesome.
Hawk Girl. Yeah,
Mr. Terrific was, yeah,
lots of fun.
just awesome. He was so
His
good.
takedown scene, he's just like
Yes.
whipping everybody. Yeah, that's good.
I I loved it. Yeah, he was badass, brains and brawn and attitude, but, again, doing the right thing, like, making the right choices, and he's like, I go my own way, and, I don't have to be ruled by the decisions of our leader in the de facto gang. Oh god. Nathan Fillion was perfect as Green Lantern. That
Guy
was
Garner, yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah. He was ridiculous and funny. Um, total like lots of swagger, but nothing doing. He was actually really taking a back seat, which I enjoyed.
He was just the right amount of asshole, he wasn't,
Yes.
so he was still likable,
Yes. It's a very hard
because
blend to do.
yeah, they coulda really messed that up, but I thought it was good, and then in the end, he comes through and, you know, saves the
Yeah.
day with the rest of the group, so,
Yes.
yeah, I liked
Yes.
it.
And his new ally who likes his name for the Justice Gang.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That
can't
was
remember
pretty
his
funny.
name, like Molecule Man or something, or,
Yeah.
Element Guy, I don't remember what it
Yeah,
is.
I can't remember it either. All I can think of is his little baby Joey, which, oh my
But he
god,
did a good job
there was
too.
so much there, and I was just like, "Somebody save the baby." As a
Mhm.
parent, that's all I could think about through all of this stuff. I was like, "This kid is going through some stuff. Take it easy."
Yeah. And on that point, they did it. I I stood above the other representations I've seen. They made Lex Luthor really bad. Like
Really bad.
you made him feel like he's not a good guy and he has the power to do awful things. And
Yes.
I thought, Lex Luthor's never been a character that I've particularly cared for, and I think it's a challenge to make him be threatening and cool in against Superman, against one of the most powerful beings around. And
Yes.
the cartoon, like when we talk cartoon, I'm sure we're talking about the Superman cartoon and Justice League from like the 90s.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And they did a really good job in that, but they can do some things that are, because it's in a cartoon, that you might not want to see in live action. And so you really
Yes.
have to rely on like the smarts and the planning and the scheming and do that well. And they did that well, plus giving him um, hey, I'm going to bring in someone that you've met once, ask you some questions you don't answer. He doesn't serve us, and we shoot him dead. Next,
Yes.
like
Yep.
very good. So
Yes. Yeah, they really portrayed just like a disdain and, you
yeah,
know, like a
jealousy.
lack of well, yeah, just so many, like, negative character flaws. They did it quite well. I mean, obviously, like he says, he's got jealousy and envy, not the way that Superman implies, but he's, is still acknowledging that's what I have, because I'm just so much better than everybody else, and nobody sees my ridiculous class of genius. Um, so yeah, so that, I mean, that was interesting. But like you said, he's totally ruthless. He doesn't care about, or value anybody who's not of use to him, and is just like very dispassionate in dispatching them. It's just like, you have
Yeah,
use, no, bye. You have use, no, bye. Like, one by one by one. Um, you see that in kind of like top to bottom levels in intimate moments, like killing that the guy who he thought might break Superman or might have information on him, discarding his ex-girlfriends and putting them all in a pocket dimension. But then
mhm.
like larger levels of like opening this portal, knowing it's causing this rift that could cause many people to die.
Yeah,
And then when it gets to him, he's just like, yeah, I'll just like fly away. It's fine. Like, I don't really care about any of this shit. Like, I don't care about this town. I don't care about the people. I'll just outrun it until I can't, until, you know, I decide to close it
yep,
up because it doesn't serve me anymore. So,
yep,
small to really large scale, he's
yep,
just like, whatever serves me, I have, whatever doesn't, peace.
yep, yep. It's really good. I liked, I have no real comments on how the film was shot. I think that's always often my thing with a James Gunn film.
Sure.
Is just it looks clean. Um, they'll do cool things, but it doesn't create a different world for me. It's not like an ambient experience of like, it doesn't like absorb me in that way. It's not beautiful in that way that I like to see in
Sure.
films. It's just clear and clean. So it's
Yeah.
competent. It's just not artsy. There's nothing
Sure.
artistic about it really, and other than, there's some cool he's spinning around with laser eyes and stuff. Right? There's like some cool things like that, but it's like cool powers. It's not so much the way it looks or it's shot or whatever. Um Music was befitting as Superman. I love the sort of messaging, it's like he's let down by his birth parents in this, and that's a central focus. But in the end, like he comes to like my real parents, like the people that really raised me,
Yeah.
that's who he ends up drawing inspiration from. And so that's very sweet and nice. Um I
Thought
Jimmy
I thought
and Lex's girlfriend were fun. It was kind of a nice side comedy, relief. Like I
Yes.
enjoyed it.
That was
So
hilarious because I didn't see it coming.
yeah,
I totally didn't I
the
mean,
espionage.
obviously, Well, yeah, I mean, top to bottom, I didn't see it coming because in Jimmy's phone, the contact, name just didn't lead me to believe that's who it was, which I know is the point, but I was totally so thrown off. I was like, it's a guy, maybe it's like Ultraman or, another like super brain
Hmm.
inside of Lex, and maybe they like Jimmy and they're trying to meet up or whatever. So I just totally missed any sort of hints that it was Eve. And then when that
Mhm.
happened, I just chuckled. Um, both from the surprise and also from Jimmy's obvious reluctance to be with her. But
Yeah.
dang, if she wasn't a clever girl,
I know,
all
right?
along, taking these
Mhm.
taking these selfies and doing it so often that, it's just background
Yeah,
noise. Everybody doesn't even pay attention
right.
because it's whatever. It's, "Oh my god, she's taking selfies again."
Yep.
But yeah, quietly building this like insane evidence base. Girl, I think Jimmy's sleeping on a good woman there, you know what I mean? Like, take her up on her offer to spend the whole weekend, Jimmy, because girlfriend is smart.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I I don't know,
I mean, she
maybe.
is. That's
I
that's
mean, she is,
clever.
clearly. No,
That's
absolutely, but you gotta be able to, like, talk to the person and not lose your mind too, so I mean, I don't
true.
know. We didn't spend enough one-on-one time with her that Jimmy
True.
should try,
Jimmy should at least give her a weekend. Jimmy should at least give her
yeah.
a weekend and,
Mhm.
see if there's anything else going on. Um,
Yep.
'Cause yeah, that like I said, that was just really fun.
Well, I think, overall, I went in the movie. I wouldn't say I had high expectations, but I'd heard a lot of good things, and
Yeah.
so that was in my mind or whatever. I thought, casting of just from looks, everything seemed good, whatever,
Mhm.
and it turned out to
Agreed.
be. And um, I heard people saying like I heard some of the critics saying, every serious moment was immediately ruined by like James Gunn comedy, and I completely didn't see that at all. Um,
Well,
I thought that they had heartfelt moments, but things didn't, they didn't sit and get brooding or whatever. We had stakes, like the baby. We had fun moments, like the big giant that the Justice Gang is dealing with, and Green Lantern's hitting with a club, and so just a fun, uplifting movie
yeah.
despite Superman getting his ass handed to him a lot, but then like ultimately coming out on top. And it's pretty heartwarming. And I just think that for a Superman movie, and a launch of a new universe, it's a pretty good start in my book.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I thought it was really solid. I I thought, maybe there were some things that kind of got a little much, like Crypto the dog sometimes was like a
Biggest
lot.
complaint is my biggest
And
complaint. Thank you, Crypto the dog.
yeah.
Could have done without.
Or, just less, I don't know, some different ways to use him sometimes. Sometimes he was just like so much. And yet also as
Yeah.
a dog owner, I was like, dogs are so much sometimes.
I mean, it
I
was
feel
cool
some
that
of
at
this.
the end, he does an
Yes.
important thing, attack, he gets the cameras so he can't.
Yes.
That's cool. That's good that he was
Finally,
there for that.
finally. There was some good
Yes.
setup for that because obviously, he's taking down, don't you dare call them circles, Mr. Terrific's T spheres. Um, so yeah, so I mean, there was some good build up to like eventually he was going to be useful, but like there was a lot of times
Yes.
where you're like, oh my god, this dog, this dog, this
Yes.
dog. Can you just please be
Yep.
helpful? Also, I was like terrified when he attacked Superman out of joy, seeing him in the pocket dimension, and Superman's like, "You're gonna hurt the baby," and I'm like, "You are
Yeah.
gonna hurt the baby." Um. So yeah, so it was a little bit much. Sometime it was like you said, a good way to set up the ultimate, fixing the battle with Ultraman. And then also it was a cute setup for introducing Supergirl at the end of the film. That,
Yep.
he was like watching her dog. Um,
Yep.
But, yeah, he was in there a bit much for me.
Yep. Agreed. Agreed. Um, well, any other complaints or final thoughts?
Ooh, um, I do have to say that there was one thing I noted, that I really enjoyed. So I liked the casting. David Corn Sweat, I believe
Okay, yeah,
is how you say his last
sounds
name.
right.
Um, I enjoyed that, as he's hidden as Clark Kent, they did at least try to give him, like, not only glasses, but, like, different hairstyle,
Mm.
than super you know what I mean? Like, just like a little something extra that's
Yeah,
like,
he looked
we're
like a
gonna try to
Gen Zer with with
yes,
his
with his,
spark.
like, curly mop
Yeah,
of, whatever, and then, of course, as Superman, it's, like, all beautifully pulled back and curled and whatnot. But, it was just like, thanks for at least trying, acknowledging kind
yep,
of sometimes the silliness of, like, a pair of glasses. So,
sure.
yeah.
Nice. Okay, well, the DCU is just getting started.
Indeed.
Uh, I do think this is a fun start. I still
Indeed.
would wish they won't go down the Batman route. I still wish they just let that be for now. Come back to it
Agreed.
later. But I think we have a cool Hawk Girl and a cool Mister Terrific
Yeah.
and a cool Green Lantern that we have lots of things to do with, and Superman, and then we're gonna get more Supergirl next year, then more Superman the next year,
Yes.
and
Yeah, they will be all over our screens pretty constantly.
yeah, then we're gonna get a Green Lantern TV show, which I
Right,
hope doesn't
yeah.
muddy the waters because I'm interested in seeing more of Guy Gardner here and everything. But yeah, to me, to me, the superhero movie genre is on the upswing. We'll say from a bit of a dark time here, and
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
I hope
between Fantastic
audiences come
Four
along.
and yeah,
Yeah,
Superman, I think pretty solid efforts.
I think I think that I hope that audiences come along with it. I just saw today, and I didn't fact check it, so it could be wrong. That Demon Slayer has passed Superman at the global box office.
Oh, wow, okay.
So the demons, I mean, that's not to say necessarily, but I mean, 10 years ago, that's not happening. No
Yes,
way. So
that's
things have
true.
shifted. Major pop culture things have shifted. And now a Japanese cartoon is outdoing Superman, one of America's most legendary IP. It's been around
Yes.
for a very long time. So just
I,
something to, yeah,
I did think about that during this movie, just our changing lexicon as, they just casually toss out that they're battling a kaiju in this film.
sure.
Like,
Yeah,
even
right.
just referencing that was big. I mean, they could have said like, "Oh, this is like a Godzilla, it's a monster, it's, whatever."
Yeah.
No, they said a kaiju, just casually.
Mhm.
So and
Yeah,
and
sure.
expected people to know what that is. So, that was
Right.
cool.
Yep. So, if you're I don't know, if you like movies and superhero movies, I think you should give Superman a shot. Also think you should
Agreed.
give Fantastic Four a shot and
Agreed.
see where these movies go, see what happens next. And they're both superhero movies that are standalone projects. Like people
Yes.
say, no homework required. So,
Yes.
that'll be it from us, I think, in our discussion of Superman 2025 by James Gunn. Thank you all for joining us. And we'll hopefully be back next week with
Yeah.
our anime podcast about Lord of Mysteries, finishing out that season one. I'm jumping back into work here like tomorrow. So schedules in flux for the next month. So I do apologize for any of that sort of thing. But
We'll
if
make it work.
anything, maybe we'll try to get clips out there for people and some of that. So you have lots of back episodes to watch. You can listen to our early rantings on Star Wars. Go way back.
Oh, man. You wouldn't have to go back far. There was, like, a time I think, like, a 2-year time period when we couldn't stop mentioning Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
Well, and before long, before you know it, and next year, I suppose, will be at episode 200 of this
Yeah.
show. So big
Yeah.
milestone
Wild.
there. But so there's lots for you to catch up on if you're interested. Follow us, Popcast on the Rocks, YouTube, X, Twitch, podcast directories, all that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Thank you to Killing the Flower. They wrote our theme song. You can check them out on music streaming services. Check out Track Mouse, our friend Mike, for racing content. And that's it. Andrea, thanks for making this happen and being here tonight. And we'll see you right next time.
Of course, as always. Cheers, everybody.